chair of the curriculum committee, and I'm
I guess.
going to ask everybody to announce yourself in a little bit so that we can start the year knowing everybody around. Let's start with Tori.
You see what Florida retired educator.
Laurel Gallo, sixth grade teacher, LA Whitney.
Now you can do Tori.
And she already left.
Oh.
I'm still retired.
I thought we were doing
Clockwise. I'm going counterclockwise.
Okay. Andreas Marangos, English teacher at Stratford High School.
Melissa Bader, I am the Humanities Department Lead at Bunnell High School.
Katie Graff, Principal, Bunnell High School.
Sam Westbrook, Director of Peer and Community Learning.
Jeff Lynon, Stratford High School music teacher.
Mark Ryan, Mets fan. Also Stratford High School music teacher.
Jake Halbager, music teacher at Bunnell High School and Stratford High School.
Kiana Taylor, assistant principal, Flood Middle School, and a parent of 3 Stratford Public students.
I'm Sean Kennedy, board member.
Elizabeth Borgelli, Humanities Department Head, Stratford High School.
Joanna Nigerian Garb, Supervisor, Assessments, Accountability, and Grants.
Phil Gazza, assistant superintendent for 712.
Diana Diorio, Assistant Superintendent, Pre-K-6.
Tamina Khan, Pre-K-6 STEM Department Head.
Abby Owen, Pre-K-6 Literacy and Social Studies Humanities Department Head.
Justice Gambera, K-6, STEM interventionist at UIW.
Afternoon, Gilliard, enrichment teacher for the district.
Catherine Hopkins, Business Teacher at Bunnell High School.
And after this, our new committee member this year, because Jessica Tishless had taken another position in Fairfield. So we hope she has a good year. She's assistant principal at Notre Dame. Okay, so it is now 5 o'clock. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Okay. And we're going to make a motion to amend the agenda. There was a field trip to be added on, I believe it is the overnight to Washington, D.C.
Yes.
And I'm going to need a second to, thank you, Laurel. And if anybody has any questions in regard to this before we take a roll call vote. Any questions?
I'm sorry, who was the first to approve?
I made the motion, and Laurel seconded it. Would somebody else like to make the motion?
Yeah, let's do that.
I'll make the motion.
Sorry, thank you.
Okay. Already made a motion.
Okay, no questions? All right, we're going to take a roll call vote to add this to the tonight's agenda. Laurel, yes? Yes.
Yes.
Katie? Yes. Kiana?
Absolutely.
Sean?
Yes.
And Jessica?
Yep.
And Ashley?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. So officially it is now on the agenda. And we'll go to, it's going to be items for review, possible action. All right, number 2.
Sorry, here.
Excuse me?
Go back and we need to include the minutes from the 6:25.
Well, that's where I'm going right now.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. I'm going to routine business right now.
Okay.
All right, routine business. We're going to approve the minutes of the June 10th, 2025 meeting. I need a motion on the table. Thanks, Jessica. Second?
Second.
Thanks, Andres. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those against, say nay. Any abstentions? All right. Going to number 3. I like it when we go quick. These are items for review, possible action. The first is the overnight field trip, Bunnell CTE, FBLA, Fall National Leadership Conference, Phoenix, Arizona, wish I was going, November 5th to the 9th, Catherine Hopkins.
Hello, everyone. My name is Catherine Hopkins. I'm not really good at impromptu speeches, so I just kind of wrote something if I could just read it, if that would be okay. I'm a teacher at Bunnell High School, as you know, and I'm the advisor of our chapter FBLA, which stands for Future Business Leaders of America. Until last year, our students had never had the opportunity to attend an FBLA conference because we were not a registered chapter within the organization. Last year, I registered us, and we are officially recognized nationally as a chapter. And so now our students have a chance to participate in workshops, competitions, leadership experiences that can kind of springboard their future business success. The conference that we will be attending in Phoenix on November 5th through the 9th offers professional development through leadership workshops, roundtable talks with college admissions, networking with peers nationwide while also giving students a chance to explore Phoenix, tour local businesses and colleges. We will be touring those as well, while building lifelong connections through our networking activities. To the kids and to myself, this is more than just travel. It's a chance to launch our students' leadership journeys, strengthen their much needed soft skills, which the phones are helping this year, but we need to get better at it. So things like communication and teamwork, and it equips them to return to Bunnell with fresh ideas, renewed motivation to help grow our chapter bigger and even more successful. And I respectfully ask for your approval so that students can take part in it. I have a packet for each of you. Those with name tags, I guess, just go ahead and pass them all down if you have any questions. And also my president of the club is also in attendance, Ryan Gonzalez, and he has a few words also.
So really, our club, we see this trip as like more of like an opportunity for, of course, everybody, especially like our seniors, so they could show on our college like resumes and whatnot, just so that they know that we're very interested in what we want to do. Mainly for the people who want to go into business, like myself. Like my plan was to go wherever I go to business, go law school, do business law. That was my plan. So that's my interest. But for everybody else in the club, since this year we do have a lot of underclassmen, it's just so that we can engage that interest as well. So like, let's say you have a junior who's not so sure what they want to do. They can go there and see how other clubs would do it. Not only that, it would assist the school so that we can take ideas, but like borrow ideas from other FBLAs and like implement it to our school in upcoming years. And if it's a great idea, of course, then we would like to make a move to that, you know? So that's just what I have to say. I mean, it would help a lot for everyone in our club, and not only that, to bring interest to our club, and you know, it would just make everything a lot better. It would give more incentive to join FBLA.
And in the packet I have, if you just skip to page 3, there's like it starts with a breakdown of our lodging, and it kind of gives our daily itinerary. And then on page 5, it kind of gives a breakdown of all of our fares. These are, this was as of June when I first put it on the table before school got out. These were fares, so some of the fees might change slightly, like airfare, but I did pad it high. So it won't be any more than the total fee on the back, and we're currently initiating a few different fundraisers to help lower that for the kids. All I have, thank you. Let me know if you have any questions.
Does anybody have any questions?
I had a general question about medicine on field trips, because I saw 2 different things in the many forms. Is there a form required?
Yes.
Signed from a doctor, or?
If you have kids with you on the field trip that require medication,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, so you don't know who you're bringing yet, or?
I have, well, the trip is set up for 8 people, and I have, I think, 5 for sures and 3 maybe. So of the 5 for sures, no, they do not need any medical.
Okay, and in case the other 3 do, you'll
It's a
have the
form that I have to
available.
sign, correct.
Right,
Yep.
okay, I was just double checking, because I was confused by the different answers I got on the form.
Oh, nope, the nurse has to sign off it, the parent
Okay,
does,
okay.
I do, and then if there's any special medication, I have to be trained on it.
Okay, thank
How
you.
many chaperones?
2.
2? Both teachers?
Yes, the other one is also a business teacher, Leola Miller.
And what other businesses are you looking at, or is it the general business? Are there companies that you are?
They're not set up on the tour yet. Those were optional tours. We have an agenda set up without those. I did pad it for those, the price, but they did not have their list of companies out yet. They said it would be out mid to late September. So we would take a vote to see if we want to do those, but we are attending, we are going to attend Topgolf, we are going to attend ASU, and we are going to do a behind the scenes, either look at, because I have it like either way where we can, the prices may have changed since June when I did this. So on one of the days, we are either going to behind the scenes tour at Topgolf or Dave & Buster's.
Okay. And the workshops are run by?
The workshops are run by FBLA. Yeah, and we have to stay in their approved hotel.
Any other questions?
I don't have a question, but just a comment. You know, Benel has been really successful in both the DECA and FBLA student organizations, and this is really right up the alley of satisfying our purpose grant initiative. So I do wish the students luck, and you know, no pressure, but they're going to bring back some great ideas. I think this is a great experience for them. Right? The other piece of this is the financial estimates. The cost of transportation to and from will be covered by the grant. So there, Ms. Hopkins noticed there's a requirement to kind of turnkey some of that information.
I have it, I need it.
So, just so that, you know, I know it's just an estimated cost, but just to let you know.
Right, well, it's November, right? Things
Coming up.
change in November.
Yeah.
The airfares are even, their flights are even there. Who knows? Phil, just quickly, did you push that button?
We did.
Just want to make sure. And nobody else has any other questions? Okay, this is a possible action. Debbie, are we taking a vote on this for them to do this?
Yeah, you would have a motion to approve and second and.
I need a motion to approve this field trip going forward. Jessica, would you like to make a motion?
I'll
Yeah,
second.
you second it, thank you. All roll call vote. It's, let's start with Afton. Yes. Yes, Jessica. John.
Yes, and Lisa Pierre.
Lisa.
Yes.
Sucker, welcome.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
And yes, so you have an unanimous to go to the board for approval.
Excellent, thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
To be clear, I can start planning airfare?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, you've got to get the board education's approval, correct? Am I correct?
Board meeting.
It goes to the board with a favorable approval from here.
Okay.
And then they will make the decision if they have any concerns and stuff. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
We
Bill.
appreciate it very
You'll
much.
be fine.
Good job.
You don't want to stay for Mrs. Bader's presentation?
Have a great day, guys.
Go get 'em.
Okay. Next on the agenda is the overnight field trip, Stratford Heights Music Peak Performance High School Music Competition, Virginia Beach, April 23rd to the 26th, 2026. Mark, Ryan?
Yes, thank you for having us. We like to travel each year and do an adjudication festival and public performances, because that's what our music curriculum is all about. And throughout this year, we'll be working on music to perform in Virginia Beach at the festival, and we'll play for professional judges that are professional musicians and music educators at a local university, and we'll have a national rating that we'll go up against when we play. So the trip would start by leaving on Thursday morning and going to Norfolk, where the battleship Nauticus Wisconsin is, and we would have a performance there, a public performance, and then make our way to Virginia Beach with our hotel check-in, and we have a performance on the boardwalk for the jazz band with dinner on the boardwalk. The next day would be the adjudication, which, like I said, is at a local university, and we have the concert band, the honors band, the jazz band A, the orchestra, and the choir, all would be competing, in different categories. And then that will take up most of the day. In the evening, we'll head to the Norfolk again, to the Spirit of Norfolk boat, and we'll have a dinner cruise with an awards ceremony on the boat and music for the kids. The next day on Saturday, we would go to Busch Gardens for another performance at Busch Gardens and enjoy the park and have dinner at the park. And then on Sunday, we would head to Colonial Williamsburg to see the cool stuff that's there, and then be back in Stratford by the evening so the kids can make it back to school on Monday morning. We'd be staying at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Virginia Beach oceanfront, And we have 4 students per room, security guards on each floor, and the package includes 3 breakfasts and 3 dinners. Students will be paying for their own lunches. The target audience is our music students, grades 9 through 12, that are in the performing groups that I mentioned earlier. The program cost is $1,065, and there will be trip insurance with that. We have a lot of fundraisers planned by the Stratford High School Music Parents Association. Pretty much once a month there's a fundraiser, and the kids can raise money if they want, or they don't have to. They have their own student account set up, so whatever they raise goes just for them. We also have some group fundraisers that will go for the entire group that will start. We will have 4 teachers and about 10 parents that will chaperone with us. They'll all be going through the volunteer form that Stratford Board of Ed has now, make sure that they are vetted there. Usually they're parents from the Stratford High School Music Parents Association, they have monthly meetings, and we're in contact with them all the time, so it's parents that we know and work with all the time. And the students that are allowed to go are in passing their classes, in good standing with all of their teachers, and in the music program. We will have a nurse with us on the trip. We usually anticipate about 130 students, somewhere around there. We've had a little less in the last few years since COVID, but we're hoping to build it back up again. And does anybody have any questions?
Is one of your fundraisers in December your poinsettias?
Yes. Would you like one?
Actually, I used to buy quite a few of them.
Oh, good.
But I don't know anybody at Benell anymore. So,
Well, this is
or
Stratford
the
High,
or the
right?
music, or Stratford High or
Yeah.
Benell.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
but
don't have
we'll-
anybody.
We'll make sure you get one if you like one.
Yeah.
You can buy a mum from us.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
Oh,
there you
You
go.
do
Split.
mums?
We do mums.
You do
Yes.
mums. It's my husband likes the poinsettias. No offense. So if you have a student who's having some,
Sure.
let
Yeah.
me know, and I will be very happy to buy poinsettias. And I will buy a few mums from you. Does anybody else have any other questions? No? Okay, I'm gonna have to take a roll call vote on this. Go around.
Yeah, we need a motion.
Motion first.
Oh, I'm sorry, the motion. You'll make the motion?
Yeah.
Okay, does anybody second Afton? And Afton, you can take. Yes.
Yes.
I'm trying to make sure we go around these different ways.
Oh,
Lisa?
Yes.
Jeff? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
And I'm a yes. Okay, then it's unanimous. We're gonna send it to the full Board of Education with a unanimous approval.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Yeah, it does.
You can work hard.
Welcome, Liz.
Do any of you want to come over here?
Cozy now.
We've gotten pretty tight.
We've got a bond going on over there. We're good.
Okay. Number C, an overnight field trip, Stratford High Athletics Varsity Dance Team, National Dance Team Championship hosted by UDA, Orlando, Florida, January 29th to February 2nd, 2026, Morgan Miller.
She said she was coming, and now I can see her here.
Okay, so what we'll do then is put that on hold and go to the overnight for Amanda Green, the Washington DC trip.
That's me.
Okay.
So first of all, I just want to say thank you for everybody's patience with me, because I'm going to ask that this gets pushed through on relatively short notice. I only very recently learned about the opportunity for this trip. So 3 years ago, I started the debate team at Flood Middle School, and we shopped around for different leagues that we could join, and decided to join the Bridgeport Debate League. So we went to our first tournament, and we were absolutely horrible. Like really, really, really bad. But I stuck with it, and my students stuck with it. We all got better, and 2 years ago, we won the league championship, and so just to prove it wasn't a fluke, last year we won the championship again. Thank you. And so this year we're looking to further expand our ability to compete not only against the students that we're used to seeing in our own league, but on a broader scale as well, which brings us to Washington, D.C. So this trip would be November 7th to 9th. It's a Friday to a Saturday. And importantly, it would be for only 4 students, and it's also fully funded through a state grant that we received over the summer. So there would be no cost to students, although they're encouraged to bring a little spending money or emergency money if they feel like it. No cost to a chaperone, of which I'd be the only one, and no cost to anybody else except for a substitute teacher that I would need on Friday. There are other field trips coming down the line that I'll ask your permission for later. Those are in February and March, and so I just want to get this one through before you guys see me again. And debate in general does cover almost every domain of Stratford's Portrait of a Graduate, everything from amplifying student voice to creating a growth mindset. And it also covers extensive state standards for social studies and language arts. Literally every single speaking and listening standard with the exception of one. So, like I said, this is just our initial trip. We are hoping that this is going to incentivize our newer debaters to be allowed to come to future overnight trips, because I'm only taking established students. Because our school is only 2 years, that means they're most likely going to be 8th graders, so this is an incentive to 7th graders in addition to an award for our 8th graders. Any questions?
Any questions?
Can I just add, I'm very proud of Amanda. She was on maternity leave last year and her team still won.
Yeah.
So
I did it through maternity leave.
She did great work. So she's it started, I think, my first year at Flood. And she's really stuck to it. The kids love it. She's amazing at it. I've not had a chance to get to any of the debates, but I told her that. Well, I've heard great things about it, and I told her that if this is approved, I'm gonna get on the Amtrak after work on Friday, and I'm gonna come down and go see, because I mean, they are amazing, and they brought us the trophy, and she's been doing great work, and the kids really like it. It's something that the kids enjoy.
And actually, that does remind me, I did forget to mention that we are taking the Amtrak down, and then staying in the hotel approved by the Urban Debate League, which is running this one. And they're actually providing all of the food, so.
Right.
Except for breakfast, which will be provided by the hotel.
McDonald's.
As an aside, is there an opportunity to see the team in action locally?
Not really. So because the debaters get really nervous, and because in the past, I guess there's been some issues with parent over-involvement, the actual tournaments they're closed, but we do have a few exhibition tournaments that Flood students will sometimes debate in.
Can they do their debate on video so that we can see it?
You know, that's a very good point. I'll ask. I
Yeah.
don't know off the top of my head, but I'll ask.
Yeah, if you can get Lou or something to just tape them so
Sure.
that we can see it and they won't be nervous.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That makes sense.
I think that would be great. Anybody have any questions or
Do the
anything else?
parents try to debate for them?
Apparently not, because debate is largely subjective on who won. I mean, there's a
okay.
rubric, but some parents are saying like, well, my student definitely won, and they get pretty upset about it.
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Or maybe
Okay.
they want to learn some tips on how to talk to their children in the debate.
Well, that's sort of how I advertise it, is I say that the students can learn to argue against their parents a little bit better, so you should come join my club.
Thank you very much. Okay, no more questions or anything? Then I need a motion on the table to approve.
So moved.
Lisa? Okay, second, Andres? All right, we'll take a roll call vote. Kiana?
Absolutely.
Lisa?
Yes.
Jessica? Yes.
Yes.
I'm a yes.
Yeah, I'm a yes.
I'm a yes.
Yes.
Andres?
Yes.
Katie?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, he was right up the piano. Okay, then that's unanimous, and we'll send it with a favorable recommendation up to the full Board of Education. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Good luck.
This got passed down to me.
That was mine copy. I was just
Oh.
saying, did you want to look?
Is this your gluten-free Italian pasta?
Yes. Yes, it is.
I wanted to
Did you
make sure,
want-
no, I just wanted to make sure whoever's it was did not. Yeah, got it back. Because if that was the plan for dinner, I didn't want to get lost.
Gluten-free
It's
Italian
just-
pasta salad.
For a second there, I thought it was part of the field trip, like they were gonna make it, or they were gonna debate making it.
Either is it an allergy, I don't know.
Yeah, so I'm glad, okay, there you go.
Be a
Thanks,
good
sir.
debate. Thank you.
You're very welcome, Louise.
All right, okay, let's see. Is Morgan Miller? Still not here. Okay, she want to table this? Yeah. Okay, then I'm gonna need a motion to table this. All right, number C, the overnight field trip for the dance. I'm gonna need a motion on the table to table it since Morgan Miller is not here to present for the next meeting. Who would like to make a motion? Thanks, Laurel. Second? Thank you, Jessica. I require a roll call on this one too. Or just, okay, and all those in favor of tabling it, just say aye. Aye. Any nays? Any abstentions? Okay, then it's tabled till October. Thank you. Anybody back get one? Okay. All right, moving on to number 4, items for information. We don't have to vote on these. Okay, first up is review the purpose and function of the curriculum committee.
Well, we had moved that earlier. I think it's just a topic of conversation for our first meeting, and as we're looking at some of these curriculums, you know, we've had some conversations internally about what needs to be approved and what doesn't need to be approved. So I just thought it would be good to review. I mean, primarily the purpose of this committee is to, you know, review and approve new course proposals, evaluate and authorize new curriculum adoptions or any kind of major revisions, as well as approve textbooks and instructional materials. I do want to remind people that we have a curriculum handbook. I think there's copies over there on the table too, and we can provide it electronically as well. That sort of describes our process. And then just really, you know, I think it's, as we were going through this summer, I mean, we were again grateful to the board for providing us the funding to do some major curriculum revisions across all grades, you know, from kindergarten up. So, and I'm sure as you're going to hear, some were more in depth, some we didn't know what we were getting into until we got into it, and others were just minor revisions based on conversations within the department. So I think it'll be an ongoing conversation in terms of what we think needs to be approved and what others are just, you know, points of information. But I think we've accomplished a lot over this past summer. We're looking forward to continuing that work as we move forward to really, you know, after, you know, for those new to the committee, we spent last year finding our curriculum, trying to revise our, create a revision schedule, go back to what we had before COVID kind of threw it all out of whack. And so now we sort of have a 5-year revision cycle in place. Other things that would cause revisions are, you know, state mandates, which have definitely impacted us as well, unfunded state mandates, to incorporate new courses and new things into our curriculum. And then again, the conversations that come up, you know, with our department leaders within their departments as to how they want to revise and update curriculum to provide, you know, the best education for our kids. We did notice some of the dates on the Board of Ed approved curriculums predated most people around this table. So, it's much needed and definitely something that the teachers are eager to do, judging by their willingness to give up large portions of their summer to do this work. So,
Right. And thank you very much to all teachers and faculty that did this, because quite frankly, it was a hard job. There was a lot to cover and revamp and try to implement. So very, very proud of Stratford's public school.
And one other thing I just wanted to mention is that I think the way a lot of us have thought about curriculum previously, earlier in my career, is that it gets done and it's done. And it's on a shelf or on my desk. And I think one of the key things for us to remember, especially in this committee, is that I think the goal is for it to be a living document.
Exactly.
And to continue, you know, I think you'll hear that in the presentations tonight, that, you know, the work that's here isn't final by any means, and it's something that's going to be ongoing. It's going to be looked at, it's going to be reflected upon, it's going to be revised further. So I think the idea is just to keep this committee in the loop on all those revisions, and then, you know, putting things forward for approval. So.
Excellent work, thank you. Thank you. Anybody have any questions? No? Okay, then we'll move on to B, update on English 3, 11th grade, and Modern World History 9th grade summer curriculum work.
Ms. Borgelli and
Melissa Bader is going to start with English, and then I'll pick up with social studies. But the packet that we passed out has the curriculum vision for both ELA and social studies. But then the back pages of the packet are more so social studies. While Melissa's talking, I don't want anyone to get confused if they're starting to move into the social studies piece. But this is a little bit of what we gave our teachers at the opening at the opening PDs at the beginning of the year to kind of loop everybody in both social studies, middle school and high school, and high school English departments as far as the curriculum revision and where we're planning to go this year.
So I have to call out Andreas because he was a part of the curriculum writing committee.
I'd rather have that.
Yeah, but we thank you publicly for all of your hard work. So I'm going to start with process, which I think actually kind of covers both disciplines. So most of the people around our table have never written curriculum before. So we were asking people to do something that was like slightly uncomfortable, but also we had a brand new template, a brand new framework for curriculum, which is understanding by design, which really causes a shift in mindset in how we kind of approach curriculum and instruction. So there was a lot of learning, in the spring and leading up to the actual curriculum writing process. Something that was very important to Liz and I know to Dr. Piazza as well, is the process of collaboration and making sure that while we have dedicated curriculum writers over the summer, that everybody's voice was being heard leading up to, and that the big decisions were being made in larger groups. So we went through what I would now call a painstaking process of choosing the text, of rationalizing the text, of then choosing kind of our POG indicator that was going to drive the work and rationalizing that, then to choosing sort of the assessments for each of the units that we had kind of mapped out, and then working backwards to really dig into like what we wanted our outcomes to be and what standards we wanted to attach them to, until finally designing and developing the learning activities and tasks. So this is a months-long process, but I'm quite proud of, I think, where we landed.
Between everything you just listed, add debate.
Yeah,
because after every thing, there was debate about whether or not we were making the right decision. Just because of the way that everything is built, it all has to be interconnected and making mistakes. We all did.
We all learned the art of compromise in this process. The students, and that's the thing, is that whenever there is a question about what to do, it comes back to we're being responsive to students and what's best for our kids. But there's a few things that we valued here in this process that we really wanted to. These are the words that kind of guided the work. One is rigor, and so really pushing the rigor back up to where we felt like it needed to be after kind of the COVID bubble. We feel like it's burst. It's time now to bring back some of the texts that haven't been touched in a couple of years, but also choice and autonomy and student voice, and making sure that our students knew how to do the work that we were instructing independently from the instruction. So we designed, so the structure of all of our units, we designed a curriculum that is 3 umbrella units doing 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B, 3A, 3B. So it's really 6 units, but we designed it that way to make sure that they were cohesive and to make sure that there was an anchoring unit and then a unit where students are meant to explore and be more independent with the work, and there's a book club or a choice book or a writing process involved. So we were really, really thoughtful and careful to make sure that like there was a through line between each unit and each parts of the unit, but also through the year too. Thematically speaking, we moved from something that was somewhere, it was a more generalized literature course to an American Lit course, which is traditionally what is done in 11th grade in most high schools. So the overarching theme really throughout is American identity, and I would break, and interrupt me if you can say it better, because you wrote Unit 1, so. I would break it up in this way. I feel like we go kind of from like conformity and the power of conformity to systems of power in general to kind of personal exploration and personal identity. And so really understanding how the world that we live in sort of shapes the people that we are and what choices we make as individuals that kind of guide us and our futures. And so it ends with the college essay, personal narrative / college essay. And so we wanted to be really deliberate about getting there too, to make sure that students were doing that. Should I talk? This is my first meeting. Should I talk specifically about each unit, or how specific should I be? How detailed? Has everybody had eyes on the?
We did provide, in the method of providing it first was so you shouldn't have to, take us step by step.
Okay, I won't do that.
So I would keep it
pretty high level.
Higher level.
Okay. Do you when you're here and you wrote 11-1? Do you want to talk a bit about?
Sure. I mean, I can just to be as brief as possible.
Yeah.
I mean, the entire year really looks like 1A. You're looking at power structures in society, with the Crucible as one of those anchored texts that has students exploring that. And by the end of the year, they're writing their personal essays, which could double as or work in tandem with college essays, because it's the end of their junior year, and that is an opportunity for them to work on those things. So I know it's kind of what you said already, and I'm trying to be as broad as possible.
Yeah.
What that's done compared to, say, like the units from the previous curriculum, they didn't feel like they'd connected as well. So the first unit was author's choice. The second was Foundations of European Literature, and the third was Foundations of American Literature. And by the time you got to Foundations of American Literature, it's you've been all over the place. Here we have one way more cohesive year.
Yeah.
I think it's better in building from the beginning to the end, having more coherency.
Yeah. Can I ask what kind of feedback are we going to get or reflection as the year goes on from the kids, from the teachers?
Like process-wise?
Yeah.
So I think one of the asks from me was, this doesn't go in Atlas yet. For some of us, like some of these texts are brand new. For some of us, a book club setting is brand new. So we do have to kind of live this curriculum and determine what parts are going well, and maybe what parts is this the right text? So as far as the feedback process, we're going to meet at least once per quarter, if not more frequently, with our collab days, and really sit down and audit the unit. Liz and I just created sort of an auditing checklist for our other curriculum writing team, who will be sitting down for the first time to provide some feedback. It's like sort of a keep, toss, change protocol, where we are very much in a pilot year. We are also, this wasn't really your question, but I think it speaks to the type of work we're trying to do. And Phil was kind enough to approve and fund a literacy consultant. Her name is Kate Roberts. She's published several novels, and she's well known in the literacy world, and she's coming to visit us tomorrow, actually, to sort of help us guide and navigate the infrastructures for what would look like more choice. How do we hold students accountable when they're doing a book that we're not instructing? What do book clubs look and sound like? What routines can I put into the classroom to make sure that students are set up for that when it occurs? So these are all things that we're actively doing professional development-wise to make sure that teachers are equipped. We're also spending some money on making sure that we have the books in our classroom libraries to support this. And I feel like one question I just want to head off and sort of address was that we did have a conversation about our anchor texts, which are the Crucible, which you tap a different vein, right, to get to the Crucible now, because in our world, there's a different relevancy, and so we have to make sure that we're framing that, but it's The Great Gatsby, and the last anchoring text is either the things they carried or a book called The Color of Water. We did have a conversation and address the fact that these are still all white male authors, and that the choice text we're going to need to reflect a wider, diverse selection of authors and characters. The practical, answer I have for this at this point is very expensive to buy full class sets of books. So we do have to, not have to, but we're choosing to work within what we have to begin with. But as this is a living, breathing curricular process, as Dr. Piazza pointed out, we may get to a point where like that, that initial anchor text becomes something else that's still going to allow us to get to those same themes of like class and conformity and injustice. So we will get there, but this was necessary and urgent for us to, we felt, revise based on the resources that we have. And that I veered from your question, but I hope I addressed the other things.
Can I ask a question? You're saying those are your anchor texts, but are your choice texts markedly more diverse?
Yes.
Especially when we get to the personal narrative area?
Yes. So that, again, that's something else we want to address, but I'm hoping that, we have a really extensive list from the previous curriculum of board-approved choices, and we're hoping to expand that list to, to be very contemporary, to dig into authors and, pay attention to what the students are picking up from our library, but also from our own classroom libraries. And the teachers are really good about saying, like kids gravitate here, they get really good feedback on this. So we're kind of starting that, as I feel like we're now just putting structures in place for students who want to grab from the classroom libraries, that they can grab from the classroom libraries, and there's like sort of a place for that within the classroom. We're not just saying go home and read. So they are very intentionally more diverse, and the questions kind of get bigger, as we move into like those parts of the units where students should be able to make a variety of connections to things. But yeah, it's a great question. So that's kind of where we're putting our money to begin with too. Yeah.
Melissa, I have a question.
Yeah.
As a parent, thank you for getting the college essay ready. I appreciate that. What other assessments or projects or types of activities are the students doing throughout the units that kind of get them up and ready towards that essay?
That's a great question. So that's where we started our conversation with like, what do we want to see kids doing? So then we'll kind of work backwards and figure out the best way to get them there. But overall, we prioritize like deep critical thinking. So I'll work kind of backwards. We have a personal narrative, which is a big, that's a writing unit. That is not like a few weeks of here's personal narrative. That is the text that we choose. That's the purpose of the text, to understand the endurance of storytelling, the importance of storytelling, all of the things. So we're building in the strategy sort of as we go. The second unit, the big assessment is, I want to say Socratic seminar, but it's even more, I think it's even better than that. We did a really good job with this, but we put a lot of effort into, especially in that second unit, the process of discourse, and that's going to be practiced sort of within their book clubs, and that has to be taught. We recognize that as a skill that needs to be instructed. We're digging in, of course, with to the portrait of the graduate for that as well. So it's collaboration, it's discourse, but that is part of the learning. It's not just the assessment. So we're building out, for as long as Unit 2 will be, we have 2A and 2B. Even though Gatsby is an anchoring text, there's going to be regular pockets of formative discourse, so that when we get to this big one, it's deep, it's complex, it's challenging. And then it's also accompanied by writing. And so we feel like the layered type of assessment was also what we really needed to beef up. You're expressing yourself and demonstrating understanding in multiple ways. The first big assessment is a hexagonal thinking task. I've actually not personally done it, so this is going to be something, a little bit of a learning curve for me, so I'll go to you for this.
Oh, so
yeah.
I had, excuse me.
It's cool, it's really cool.
I actually hadn't done that.
I can
That
speak a
was-
little bit
Yeah,
to
yeah,
that
yeah,
was,
yeah.
Carrie on
Carrie
that.
This was a Stratford High thing that when I was like,
Yeah.
oh, this sounds.
So hexagonal thinking is visible thinking routine, but basically at the midway point in the Crucible unit, students are asked to take like key concepts, and that involves pulling textual evidence from the text and starting to make connections between power structures and characters and quotes and concepts to find connections that are happening, so they can see how there's like there's interconnectedness, and they start to synthesize sources through textual evidence. The end of that unit is an argument essay where I believe it's on an essential question like to what extent can power be both a unifying or destructive force in the Crucible text. But that mid-unit summative is more so them starting that synthesizing process and a short response, and then it moves to the argumentative essay at the end. Unit 1B, which is the extension of 1A, the Crucible, is on power, is in rhetoric, power and rhetoric, and they do a lot with speeches and how speakers use rhetoric, whether in video or text, and how like language can be used in that way. At the end, mid-unit for that assessment is a rhetorical analysis. At the end, it's application of rhetoric to a product of their choice. So they choose an enduring issue in their community, and then they communicate and create an argument using techniques that they found in speeches and that other authors were using. Or writers were using. So they're basically creating a product, and we have a lot of choice built in there on how they communicate that out to an authentic audience.
The hexagonal thinking format is, thank you for explaining that, but just like the other units, it's meant to like be embedded in the unit, not as a separate, like, okay, now it's time for your assessment, here's we have an extra 2 weeks. So I think with each unit, we did a really nice job of making sure that we were embedding the skills very intentionally, informatively assessing the skills that were going to be necessary to perform on the assessment.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a great question.
And I'm gonna say, as a former English teacher, I can listen to this all night. I love it.
Yeah.
I just want to be mindful of the time, and I'm already thinking to myself that we'll be more mindful in the future as to how much we put on the agenda, because we do want to be able to get into the, and answer everybody's questions. But I don't know if there were any more questions on this, but I just wanted to.
You're ever gonna think to bring in Dr. Seuss as?
I think I can't tell if we're being funny, but I like
No,
yes,
I mean,
but yes.
It's not Dr. Seuss as in the children's books, but in Dr. Seuss, the author.
Yeah.
And why he wrote what he.
Who does like satire and and if, like the use of mentor text in order to teach more basic mentor text in order to teach complex skills is something that we're dedicating a lot of time to this year, and sort of designing. This is probably beyond your question, but like designing the mini lesson and using really accessible things that the students recognize in order to do that, and then being able to say, oh, but that's a great example of, oh, but wait, you probably missed this. So yes.
And I think one thing that'll be good is to have you back, mid-year, towards the end of the year, just to see how things are going and get some.
Yeah, we're excited. We're excited and optimistic.
Maybe in November. Do you think we'll bring you back?
Well, probably. I don't know if they'll have enough data by then, but yeah, we'll look maybe January.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you.
No other questions? Thank you. It's great. All right. Now there's another portion of this.
Yes.
World history.
Modern world history.
Okay.
So in the packet, I just have a little bit about the social studies curriculum vision. So we're really honing in on making sure that the curriculum is guided by compelling questions, diverse perspectives, that there's student-centered collaboration. You'll find in a lot of the units that we've provided to you, the portrait of a graduate competency that the teachers are really digging into have to do with communicator, solution-driven problem solver, and compassionate, engaged community member. We're still going to, again, work through that process of evaluating curriculum to see if those pieces will shift or change at all, but those are really, you'll find consistent across the units. As far as our planning, so obviously we use the UBD template for planning, but there were a couple of things we had to consider for social studies. that added an extra layer to curriculum revision. So social studies curriculum should really be using an IDM template in their curriculum design. So it's an inquiry design model, and it's recommended by the state of Connecticut with the new Connecticut Social Studies Standards, which came out last year. So we had a little bit of a learning curve with having the new Connecticut Social Studies Standards, which moved away from a broad framework for social studies, and then also having to take a look at the IDM template to see how we can design social studies curriculum, thinking about that tool, and then taking it and moving it into a UBD template. So there was a lot of moving parts for social studies, and we probably didn't get as far as we would have liked to. We actually needed to regroup midway through the summer during curriculum writing and really shift our resources and people to work on units where we had maybe paired 2 people to a unit. We had to move another person in to just have another set of eyes, just because we needed to. It was a lot of back and forth and tweaking and revision. So with the UBD template, part of the template asks for the skills that students are going to be working on or demonstrating throughout the unit, and that's where the inquiry standards come in for social studies, and then they also have content standards. So they work together. So something that we needed to make sure is that teachers were selecting 1 to 2 inquiry standards at least per unit, depending on how long those units were, and that they were pairing them or clustering them with content standards. And depending on how they cluster them, you end up with an inquiry design template. And it can be a 1-day template or 1 to 3 day template, which is called a focused inquiry, or they can be longer, called sustained inquiries, which can take weeks, sometimes even months long, depending on how many content standards and how many inquiry standards they're bundling together. So I think Melissa and I would like to do is, moving forward, is think about having at least 1 full-blown inquiry in each unit, because you can have multiple inquiries in a unit, you can have 1 inquiry in a unit, and then you can teach standards in isolation, but the goal is not to do too much of the teaching of standards in isolation. So that inquiry design template forces teachers in the curriculum revision process to think about how economics, civics, history, and what's the last one you was like?
Geography?
Yeah. Wait.
Economics, civics, history.
Geography, we're just gonna thank you. Can be grouped together and answering a compelling question, like within a unit. So that's kind of a little bit just about what's in this packet, and we did bring in CES, Casey Dunn. She's a consultant that works closely with the state after we went through 1 round of curriculum revision, and she actually pushed us and challenged us to look back at one of our later units and kind of rethink it. So, and that's what I meant by there was a little bit of back and forth. Some of the resources that we had the teachers look at in a 3-hour PD in the middle of the summer for curriculum writing had to do with how to bundle inquiry standards, teaching them about the inquiry design template. We had taken the teachers through a bundling process, which helped them understand how to make inquiries, and then we gave them some samples. So in the curriculum that was posted and sent out by Ms. McKay, we have 4 units in here. One of them is Unit 0. Similar to thinking about like foundational skills that are needed prior to jumping into content, our Unit 0 is our foundational unit within the curriculum. It covers essential map skills, because when the 8th grade curriculum is revised to be U.S. history, the grade 9 curriculum moves back into modern world history. So teachers felt like the feedback we received was that they wanted to do some basic mapping skills to start the year. So this foundational unit covers basic mapping skills and then exposes students to a review of historical thinking skills using an authentic example. So they take a lunchroom fight, and there's multiple sources and different perspectives of what happened. And students have to use the historical thinking skills of sourcing and evaluating evidence and recognizing different perspectives with an example that feels potentially close to them, hopefully They take that and then in Unit 1, which is the Unit 2, basically, they start digging into content a little bit more. For the assessments in here, we're looking at staggering skill development through the inquiry standards throughout the year. So they start with a deconstructed DBQ. So that beginning of the year unit really hones on how to write a claim, how to analyze sources, how to prioritize evidence. It's a deconstructed argument. And then the second unit is more of writing a full-blown argument. And then we have a research project in Unit 3 where they can decide to demonstrate their research and their sourcing of information in a podcast, a newscast, and we gave them another option, so there's some choices built in. I can't remember what the last one was. But you'll see throughout the units that we're pairing the inquiry standards with the content standards, and that we've aligned to Portrait of a Graduate all throughout. That's kind of an overview of stage 1. I'm not sure if anyone has any questions about what's here in front of us.
Anybody have any questions? No? Okay, thank you very much, both of you. Very good. A lot of work. Thank you. Hope it works. Okay, going forward, we're going to go to content literacy pilot. Joanna.
Okay, thank you.
How are you?
I'm good, how are you? So thank you, everyone. In the spring, I came to you and said we were looking at a new course to meet a need in middle school for students that are not in our more intensive intervention, but are not yet at grade level, and looking to bridge the gap between that and being ready to apply the skills to the content areas. So Jasmine and Amy have done a great job taking that charge and creating an entire course. And so that's what we have here. We work together as a team to look at how are we going to create the units. And the units are around, foundational, getting to know you, setting goals, like how do we think of ourselves as readers? And then going into English, science, math, social studies, writing and research, and history and social studies, science and math for the first time. And really just building throughout the year. My charge is really just to give you a little bit of an overview. We organized around the standards that were most important, or it seemed to be most important for those subject areas. We did reach out to the department heads, looking at the curriculum, what's being done. I know that they have talked to some colleagues. What are you teaching? Like, what are some real skills that we need to be teaching to help kids bridge that gap? The goal was for students to be in there for 1 year and then go and be able to exit. So I am going to let Amy start.
Nice to meet you. My name is Amy Medina, reading specialist at Flood Middle School. I was working on the first unit called Getting to Know You and Creating a Community. As we all know, in the beginning of the year, we want to create a community in our classroom that feels safe for students to take risks, and especially for our students that struggle as readers and writers. So when I was thinking of a vision for this first unit, I fell back to this summer. I was site coordinator for the 21st Century program, and during the program, we had a gentleman named Dan come in from Empower and do team building activities for the students. I was amazed at how the students became confident and collaborative by the end of the program. So I decided to incorporate some of his activities into our first 4 weeks of our building our classroom and creating a reading goal and a writing goal, because we all know that reading and writing goals are very important for our students that are struggling, actually for all of our students. Some of the activities include Shark Tank, having students think of an idea, something that's important to them, solving a problem, working together to come up with an advertisement and an audience that they're going to direct their product to or towards. I felt like this activity really helped some of the students that were shy to contribute and to become more confident, so I incorporated that into the unit. The unit was about creating a community of students who are confident making a reading goal and continuously reevaluate that goal. But also talking about grit and how important that is. And that's it.
And just to add that all of the lessons are suggested lessons. It's really about what do the students need. Jasmine is currently teaching it, so she'll talk a little bit about that. At Worcester, there's classes, and at Flood, they're going to be incorporating some of it into the service they provide as push-in or in small group instruction.
Hi, I'm Jasmine, so I'm piloting, very privileged to do so. I'm teaching 5 classes of children who are like, what is this class? I said, oh, I'm gonna tell you. And why it's going to help you in all of your other content area classes. So for me, I wrote the literacy unit and the science and mathematical units. So I came fresh from Lordship, so I've taught 6th grade for the last 4 years, self-contained last year. So what always stood out to me with math were the gaps in vocabulary. Students can definitely apply, some of them, hopefully more of them. The calculation side of things with the application of vocabulary was always a struggle, even with some of our highest students who performed with vocabulary. And then in terms of science, the same thing. So my thought in terms of that was to make sure they had meaning making for vocabulary, and also they understand it has a real world purpose across different contexts. Because for a lot of them, they're like, why does this matter? A squared plus B squared equals C squared, so what? I'm like, it does matter, and here's why. So that's what a lot of my units wanted to focus on. And in terms of literacy, looking at the 7th and 8th grade curriculums and being familiar with into literature and HMH, I was like, there are a lot of repeated dues, narrative structure, evaluation of evidence, analysis of evidence. So I just wanted to make sure that those were repeated dues across all the units, and that students and teachers were given choice about the type of projects, the type of contents, the variety of suggested texts from different authors, of different backgrounds, with different characters. So that was my focus.
Any questions? Okay, Lisa?
So my understanding is, right, this is separate from the reading classes, right, where they're getting more of an intensive intervention on becoming better readers, like decoding and encoding, comprehension. This is more of a kind of bridging that gap from, learning to read and learning how to be a better reader and writer to how to apply it to their content area classes and grow, right, really understanding, like you said, the vocabulary, and then expanding on those skills so that they can carry over almost more of like a combination of like a reading / critical thinking, organization, and other.
That would be good to work with the other program, because when you're talking vocabulary, you're talking world history, because all the American words or English words come from either the Greek, Italian, or Latin. And again, that would help with readers if they can understand where the word comes from, and so that when they see the word, they can deconstruct it and know exactly what it's saying without really having to look up in the dictionary from that. And history is where it all comes from.
I think you have content literacy for social studies in there. Yeah.
Social studies is one of the areas.
And again, similar to the others, I think we're going to continually evaluate and have discussions about what the curriculum should look like. So again, it'll be that live document.
It's a live document. The curriculum is not something that's in stone. Your student demographics are constantly changing. The world situations are all changing, the way people do things. So our curriculum has to move with it and grow with it. So, I think this committee, that's probably their main purpose, is to just keep it flowing and adjusting and flexing to what the needs are of this, community.
No, they're sold. Once I told them, I said the goal is to help you get stronger in your other classes, and I said the goal is for you not to be here longer than you need to. So they were sold.
Good.
Is this both at Flood and Worcester?
So this year the classes are just at Worcester, like the need was greater there. What's happening at Flood is they're going to use some of the materials when they go to push-in, when they work with smaller groups. So there's not a class itself, but they'll use some of the resources and the tools so that students who need it will also have opportunities to get this connection.
And this will be seventh graders going in?
It's seventh or eighth, so
Seventh
if a,
or eighth?
yeah, if a student takes it in seventh grade, the goal would be for them to then take, you know, the world language in their eighth grade year, and if they take it in eighth grade, then they would not have to have reading and
So-
support in high school.
Right, so this would be in place of world language.
I could say also at Flood, I feel like this is something that I can use when I'm pushing in and coaching teachers and giving them ideas and strategies that they can use themselves.
This could be used in the elementary level too, can't it?
Maybe not all the examples, but you know,
But
some of the
some
ideas.
level of it, so that, you know, because we do have children, students that their reading is not, you know.
Right, but this is usually elementary level. It is more of a learning to read, decoding issue, and encoding issue than a really being able to apply those skills to content area. So it's more of a higher level, making that gap, filling that gap between intervention and.
I was thinking 5th and 6th grade.
Yeah, well, this course came up based on scores that we did and the need that we saw arise. If we saw that need arise in 5th and 6th grade, then I'm sure that'd be something to explore.
Yeah, I mean, we use this 7th and 8th grade standard, so I wouldn't want to do this to the, this particular one.
Okay, yes?
When you identified like the key skills that students are working on in the different units, were those pulled from the 7th and 8th grade standards or based on a need of what you saw that students had a need for?
They were pulled from the standards and from what the department heads talked about in their curriculum were, you know, key things, so it was from a combination.
Anybody else?
And then, you know, just to add to your point, like, if there's something a particular student needs that maybe isn't here, you would still address that, right? Because it's about the kids, right? So that's the goal. This is just the overarching, but the needs here, you're gonna meet that need.
I'm sorry if I missed it. Is this considered like an MTSS course? And if so, are students with IEPs also in this course?
Students can go in if they need support. So there's, you know, students were placed in, they looked at data, and the data shows the student
So
has
it's
the
open
need.
to everybody. It's not a tier 2 or tier 3.
It technically is, yeah, it is, but it would still be open. You could still have an IEP, you could have IEP for something else that needs support in reading if your IEP is for math.
Right.
You know, dyscalculia or something. So there's nothing precluding a student from coming into it.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, thank you very much, appreciate it, thank you. Okay, next up, update on elementary summer curriculum writing. ELA, SS, Avion, and Demina Khan.
Yeah, thank you. I'll just get them started. As you heard from me, we were going into the summer with the need to write curriculum. For elementary, we for years have been using a program as our curriculum. So we really took a step back and made a conscious effort to write curriculum based on standards and the needs of the students, and the program is acting as our resource. So we did curriculum writing in literacy, social studies, which they'll talk about. I'll cover the health. They're going to just talk about the why, what we worked on. We didn't get as far as we wanted this summer. As you heard from secondary, it's a ton of work. So we battled it out and decided, you know, which grade level based on standards was going to cover what. So we were able to get a pacing guide accomplished. We also presented it to our teachers to get some advice from them at the district PD day. So it's not ready for approval. We're going to spend all year fine tuning it, creating the lessons in Atlas, and then our goal is hopefully by the end of the year we will have a final product that we will give you copies of for fine tune, comb, and approval. But I'll have them talk a little bit about literacy and social studies. And elementary is working really hard to make things easier for teachers. Elementary teachers teach 5 different subjects, and it's really complicated. So that's why Dr. Khan, who is our STEM department head, took it on to actually help us work on social studies so that we are, you know, cross-curricular job here. But I'll let them talk a little bit more about the specifics of literacy and social studies.
So just explain how we looked at these pacing guides. It was important for us to not just look at like the horizontal alignment for teachers, so that there's like a kind of like a concrete like baseline of where the students should be at. But we also looked at vertical alignment, and the reason why we did that is when we unpacked the standards, we identified the skills that align to the standards and also complement our POG competencies. And that allowed us to look at the vertical alignment all the way from kindergarten to grade 6. So we did that both for ELA as well as social studies. And then as we developed these pacing guides, we looked at the units. For HMH, what we did was we looked at the modules, and we looked at the themes of the units, as well as for social studies, we looked at, so for social studies, we also followed the Connecticut State Social Studies model curricula, and prior to that curricula being out, a lot of the social studies standards focused on or were bundled by regions, and now they're bundled more by themes. So what that allowed us to do, or the curriculum writing to do, is kind of align that with our HMH reading program. And so we did two things. We aligned the social studies content standards to the HMH standards and themes, or the literacy standards of the HMH themes. And then we took the skills. The great thing about social studies is in our district we teach social studies and science opposite each other. So not only do those skills align to our literacy program, but they also align to our science program, and therefore those skills are now aligned cross-curricular with social studies, literacy, as well as science, and math. We're going to be doing the same thing. And just to kind of give you an idea of what this pacing guide does for teachers, it allows teachers to horizontally, meaning at grade level, to be able to know exactly where the students need to be per unit. We took the units and broke it down into months from August to June, and also be able to build on those skills, keeping in mind where the students need to be in the next unit when it comes to the content, as well as the skill sets that they need to be able to develop from the beginning of the year to the end. We also align this to our report cards, so that the skills that are going to be assessed are going to align with where they're going to be reported on the report card as well. So hopefully as we work to, so our next steps is going to really use that UDD template to then develop assessments that will give students the opportunity to demonstrate mastery, not just on choice, but on voice as well, because we're really going to focus on helping students build those skills vertically as well, from K to 6.
Nice. Good. Any questions?
I just want to add one more thing.
Sure.
We've been using our curriculum hierarchy to really make sure that we are focusing on our why and how. So we really want to make sure that we are focusing on grade level expectations. So even though we might have students who are struggling and we want to fill in those gaps, we want to make sure that most of our time is sacred to really focusing on those grade level expectations this year, and kind of transforming thinking into making sure that this is going to be our guiding document that we will use to move students forward in their grade level.
Good. No questions?
On to health. So at the end, when it's a final product, a teacher will have all their subjects per month, so they can really hone in and focus on what concepts and standards need to be taught. Health did it on a separate document for now until we have it all finalized. And the reason for health, I kudos to the health teachers for recognizing that for years Stratford has been teaching the second step, which is really just good touch, bad touch, and safety around that, which is very important. But the state of Connecticut has other framework areas and topics that we should also be teaching, and they just were not comfortable only focusing on that one theme and that one topic. So they felt strongly that we should go to curriculum writing to cover some of the areas that we haven't covered for years. So the state recommends like substance abuse, wellness, family life, violence prevention, alcohol. Some of that is more secondary. So we really honed in on what's elementary-ish. And so they came up with hygiene, nutrition, drugs, and then keeping the good touch, bad touch, and safe touch. So they worked all summer to kind of align it across the months. This is for K4 only. 5th and 6th already has a Great Body Shop, and that covers the gamut, everything. But for K4, we were missing a really other important topics that we should be teaching our students. So 2 of them wrote all summer. Again, when it's done in a final product, we will give you a nice package to look through and give us your golden seal on it. But that's where we are for elementary and curriculum writing. So
Great.
far.
Looks great. Look forward to seeing it when
Thank
it's
you.
all done. Nobody has any questions or? All right. Then I guess we're moving on. Shall we, we'll move on to old business, which we don't have any, which is a good thing. Then to 6 is tabled items. There's no tabled items for this meeting, and that leaves us at 7, adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting? Thank you, Laurel. Second? Nobody want? Andre, just second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those against, say nay. Any abstentions? We are adjourned. Thank you all very much. You did a great job.
You shine down. Are we supposed to take these and bring them out?
I don't know, I think
No,
Debbie's giving
you're
them.
gonna